Hi everyone. So welcome to Not Your Normal Nerding. We're gonna do a quick review today of something that's not, of course, like I tell everybody, I don't do the reviews where you open box stuff or first open stuff or anything like that. I don't think it's necessary because by the time the product comes out, there's like 1,000 reviews or 100 reviews or anything like that of people who already do all that stuff. So if you want to see the specs and all that stuff, this is not the review for that. But what we're going to do today is review another toy, another device. It's actually a headset by Sony. The last one I did was one of the noise canceling earbuds that they had. Well, this one is actually the headset that Sony produced probably a couple of years ago. This is the WH-1000XM3s, which was kind of like, I know a newer version is coming out here in the next couple months, or is already out for $350. I would do a review on it, but here's the thing about it is there's no reason for me to buy it. So, and there's no reason for me to need it as well too. There are a lot more benefits to the newer headsets and there's newer technologies, but the fact that it's too much of an incremental design change than it is a leap forward in design change and technologies and all that. So yes, the older headsets, they're Bluetooth 4, the newer ones, they're Bluetooth 5. Does it really benefit anything overall with what you're going to utilize this headset for versus the newer ones? I don't think so. And the reason why I said I don't think so is because the review will kind of speak for itself here in just a second. So if you want the unboxing thing, please go to another channel. If you want to know the specs and all that stuff, go to another channel. My review is to kind of let you know exactly how these have fared overall over, I think I've had these for about a year and a half now. They still look pretty good. I use them quite a bit overall. They have been durable. Surprisingly enough, you keep on thinking that these headsets are so, considering how much you bend them, it's going to break, or you know, the adjusters or so on this is going to break and not work as well or not hold. They've actually held pretty well. The case itself, I will say this, it makes sense the way they designed the case because it is overall compact for what these headsets offer. And once again, there's goods and bads of every design choices, and you kind of see how Sony did their thing once you understand their motives behind what they did. So let's talk about the WH-1000XM3s here. First off, one of the things about it is the fact that it has a manual on and off switch or so. Is it a good thing? Absolutely. And once again, the one key thing that I always tell people that I don't like about the lights on most of these devices is because when you look at a device like a noise canceling headset, you're going to use it. One of two things is, yes, you want to drown out the noise of the world because it's frustrating. So you want to enjoy your music a lot better, which I will say these are amazing when it comes to being able to drown out the external noises. They work great. So the way I look at it is, if you're aiming to do that, you're wanting your calm environment, your relaxed environment. These are originally $350, roughly. So they're not going to be, once again, something that somebody has to be able to, the kind of people that can afford something like this. First off, you're not going to put these with a $300 phone or $250 phone. Yes, these will work with any phone, but people who can afford a $350 headset, their phones are going to be pretty decent with the technologies, pretty much on the higher end side of technologies, some high-end mid-ranges, so forth as well too. So that's kind of like who buys these headsets. The other side of the coin is, what do you use them for? And I always tell this about, you know, the look and the feel and the aesthetics behind headsets like these. They're supposed to be comfortable because you are paying a premium price for them. Does Sony pack quite a bit for the price point? I will say yes, they do. Uh, I will say that the sound quality that comes from these, and I have a Sony phone, so ultimately they kind of pair well. There's goods and bads in how they work, and I think, you know, if you look at the Sony family line of devices or so, I think they should communicate and pair well a little bit better with each other. But in the end, once again, when you're looking at different technologies and different codecs and different systems and making them backwards compatible, there is a give and take, and you see some of these give and take with it as well. These are NFC paired as well too, and they actually work pretty darn well for NFC pairing. There's a little NFC logo here. I touch it on my phone, and within about, I think about less than 10 seconds, they pair up to my phone absolutely fine. And once again, the Sony app works pretty well overall. Do you really need it? Depends on what you want to do. I will say the only benefit to the Sony app when it comes to these larger headsets is when you want to make adjustments to ambient sound mode. Because ambient sound, that mode or so, you can make a lot of adjustments on what you like and don't like. But when you find your sweet spot after that, you really don't need that app for anything else. And especially even when you set your sound stages and set your sound preferences the way they are, you really don't change them. So, you know, having it there is nice, but once you're done with it, you don't ever worry about that. And I think every time I've opened this in the last probably 9 months, I have not made adjustments to how the sound quality is on these headsets. So let's talk about some of the other things that go with this. Yes, the battery life on this has been great. How much I use it, I might only charge it once every 2 or 3 weeks. And I think there was one time where it was like maybe once a month I was charging these devices. This is like every other device in the world, is a lithium-ion battery, and I tell people don't ever keep your devices always 100% charged. And the reason why is because you need to let that battery wear down just a little bit. When you turn these things on, it says, hey, battery life's about 30%. The truth is, at 30% battery life, you still have 5 to 6 hours worth of listening time. So use the device. Don't plug it up. You don't need to. That's the benefit of having such a humongous battery life on this. I think the longest time that I've ever continuously played on this music on this headset was roughly about 9 hours. I have never worn out the battery. I have never drained the battery, so I actually don't know how long they last. Overall, I'm pretty, based upon what Sony promises, or Sony says that these battery life is like almost 24 hours. Based upon what this device tells me after 9-10 hours of play, they kind of hit it right. So I would expect getting at least 17 to 19 hours worth of battery life when it's fully charged. That being said, there's a couple of things that hinder that. If you have if your connection or so has problems, yes, when it comes to connection issues, connectivity or so, and it has to continuously pair, if it's using more of the internal hardware to do phone calls and all that stuff, yes, it's going to wear your battery down a little bit faster. So I will say that more than likely, I could probably get at least 15 to 16 hours of continuous usage with a single charge on this device. That is exceptional. The benefit of it is also USB-C as well too. So there's a little USB-C port or so. It does have a fast charging mechanism, so you plug it in for about 5-10 minutes or whatnot, and you get pretty decent listening time off of this device, including with active noise cancellation on. And when that thing is on, I swear, if you set your volume on your music to about 50% or 60%, it really does drown out the world pretty well. And that's the key thing is, yes, if you don't have your volume on high, yes, you hear a lot of the world, but its active noise canceling muffles the world quite a bit. So when you do turn up the volume, all you do hear is your music or whatever it is you're playing on here, and not the world. So once again, active noise cancellation, yes, it cancels out noise. Does it get rid of it? No. it buffers. Bottom line is it creates a better insulator from the noise around you. There's no such thing as getting rid of all the noise unless you turn this thing on 100% sound, and these are pretty deafening if you turn it on pretty high volumes when you're playing any kind of music. So these are very, very nice when it comes to that aspect. They're pretty comfortable on your head. They have a little bit of weight on them, noticeable probably after about 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours worth of usage. You do notice how heavy they get on your head and kind of how they wear down your ears just a little bit. Is it a deal breaker? Actually, it's not. And the reason why it's not is because you notice it. You just take a break from it for about 5-10 minutes or so and you put it back on and you're good to go. The cups, I have small ears. I would like these cups to be a little bit wider overall. But once again, I have small ears, so it's something to look at is if your ears are bigger than mine. I'm roughly about 5'6". So if your ears are bigger than mine, it's something to place into consideration if you plan on listening to these things for an extended period of time. So put that into consideration as well too. Turns on and off absolutely fine. There's a little side button that you can adjust to being, noise control or the assistance or whatever it is. It's great to have. The touch controls on the right ear, it's nice. You cup it over and it will stop everything and allow you to listen to the world. So even if you have it on active noise cancellation, which I keep it on pretty much most of the time, places on here, yes, it will dumb down the volume and it will allow you to listen to the world in case you want to hear somebody or say something. Is it a little bit weird to do that? Yes. I will say it's probably one of the weirdest things to do. I hear their newer headsets have an active listening system where you won't have to do that, and it works a lot better. These things don't sense if you have these headsets on or off, so it won't pause music or anything like that. Is that a deal breaker? Of course not. These pausing the music or whatever it is, I will say this: you can always rewind. Is it really that hard to rewind? So once again, those little incremental improvements in technology for their newer headset, to me, it is really not worth it. The benefit is once these newer headsets come out, the price on these headsets right now, I could probably find for about $200. So a really, really nice active noise canceling headset for $200, I hate to say it this way, you cannot beat that. It has pretty awesome build quality for the price point of $200, noise cancellation, durability, battery life. A couple of things that I don't like about it though is the fact that when you plug these things in to charge them, you really can't use them, which is a little bit awkward for me. Yes, that little blue LED light, and once again I make this comment a lot, is these LED lights, they are way too bright. When you're looking at a calm environment to relax or so, you turn the lights down and this blue LED light just keeps on blinking over and over again. It's pretty bright. You'll notice it. I wish they put in LED lights that have the capacity to be a little bit softer, or make adjustments where we can dim it down just a little bit, because some people like it really bright because they want to be noticed. To me, it's about my environment. I don't need it bright. If I'm in my room at night and I just want to listen to music with the lights off, well, this thing blinks and it shines like a beacon in my dark room. I don't like, and when I'm trying to relax, that bright beacon is literally like a piercing light. Even though it's on the side or so, and it kind of it's based upon light reflection. The other thing that I do like about it is that it does have a 3.5mm audio jack, and I will say that once again, I do have a Sony phone, so they still have the 3.5mm audio jack in it. I have plugged it in before. There is a humongous difference when it comes to wireless audio and wired audio. Maybe my ears are a little bit more sensitive, but I come to find the fidelity on the wired audio is amazing. The one thing that is a bottleneck from Bluetooth 4 is yes, it uses more power in a sense to do its thing, to maintain its connection. Its connection is not as great as a Bluetooth 5 is, and I noticed this a long while back. One time I literally had my phone in my left back pocket. I have these headsets on, and I think I was at where was I? Denver Airport, and it would continuously lose connection or stutter in the audio. What I come to find out, the reason why is because I looked around me and I noticed a lot of people using their phones, wireless systems, or so, access points left and right. So when it comes to signal filtering or so on these devices, yes, to have that high quality audio or whatever it is, you have to have a good signal filter or so to the system. And Bluetooth 4 or so, what is not as great when it comes to being able to do that as Bluetooth 5. Of course, there also comes at a cost when it comes to data transmission as well too. As I mentioned before, I think a while back, is that Bluetooth 4 has data streams or so roughly about 1 megabit per second, and Bluetooth 5 has almost double the data rate. Well, to be able to have good quality audio, bottom line is the higher the data rate, the higher the capabilities of the audio itself. But of course, with these headsets, you have to choose one or the other. So if you want to maintain a better connection because of that, you will lose some quality. If you want higher quality, then on the most part, yes, you will lose a little bit of battery life, and you will lose the improved connectivity. I bought these not because of connectivity. I bought this because of quality. So I always set this to focus the signal for quality, because most of the time I'm either at home. If I'm traveling, I try to leave it on the quality setting because I like to hear quality audio, and that's the reason why you buy these headsets. First off is to drown out the noise, to be able to enjoy your bubble, but also to be able to have high quality audio as well too. Sony has been known to have really good quality audio. But once again, once in a while, you come across the situation that there's so much signaling, wireless signals all around you that it can't maintain a good connection. I literally have had this in my breast pocket before, and my headset's on, and it couldn't maintain a good connection as well too. Maybe there's some kind of metal in me that I'm not aware of that's interfering, but I really doubt that's the case. But around me, there's a lot of signaling. So the benefit of these is, yes, they are great overall. They work really well. And nowadays, they're not $350 anymore. I think you can get them retail nowadays for pretty much at least $100 off on most places, which for $250, this is excellent. The price point is extremely excellent for what you get. Is it worth it? Absolutely. At $350, for me, it was worth it. At $250, to me, it's a steal. Mainly because of why you would use these for. A lot of people is like, well, what about this and this and this? Well, it has this problem. Well, if you're not gonna be placed in that situation, or that's not the typical way you're gonna use it, then that's a moot point. There's no reason to worry about that. I use these at home, which makes it very, very nice. It drowns out the world around me. Sometimes I hear cars passing outside when I'm reading a book. Pop these things on. When I set my music to 20% or 30% volume, I don't hear cars anymore. I don't hear airplanes or anything like that. Hell, I will say I don't hear anyone knocking on my door when I have these headsets on and the music is playing at even 30%. I will say that I do hear my doorbell though at 30%. At 70%, I can barely hear my doorbell. So ultimately, that is the benefit of having these headsets. Battery life is amazing on these things. Like I said, I've never actually drained these batteries. And I know, once again, if you want a review on the battery life or so, all those other reviewers or so, about a year and a half ago, when they reviewed this item, it is all there for you. Ultimately, do I recommend these headsets? Absolutely. Is it perfect? No. Originally, it would have been nice to have Bluetooth 5 built into it, so you can have a better data stream. Better data streams also means better quality audio. Well, that give and take, what you have to give up to get in return. I actually don't know why they didn't put Bluetooth 5 in here whenever they first came out, because that technology, that codec already existed. The firmwares have been increased a couple of times. The firmware has been updated on this a couple of times, and every incremental update has improved it as well too. I like the touch controls on the side of the headsets. It's on the right side or so. So this is also the touch control. It works really, really well. It is a little bit sensitive. So ultimately, and it also requires pretty accurate movement as well too. So if you look at this headset on the right side, if it's bent over a little bit, if you want to fast forward or rewind, yes, it has to be, kind of straight across this thing. But if it's at an angle and you try to go straight, do this on the other hand, you kind of miss it half the time. So you have to be aware of its orientation when you're wearing it and you're trying to swipe to fast forward, rewind, music up, music down as well too. The cupping or so of my hands, the problem is my hands are a little bit don't work right, I guess, or a little bit on the small side. So when I cup it, probably about 20% of the time, it takes a little bit longer to notice than normal. So I lose some of that, which I think is a little bit weird, because when you're cupping it, it also covers one of the microphones that helps to listen to the sound around you. So that's a little bit weird, but it works. I think if the most part we had a different way of cupping it, or maybe putting two fingers on one of the headsets or whatever it is, that would be nice. I think with our new ones or so, their active listening system, to be able to differentiate noise and when you're talking to somebody, well, I guess that works better or so overall. I'm not going to try it because I won't need to. Most of the time, how often do you really need to listen to the world around you when you have this headset on? You don't. Once in a fair while will you need to do that. Or what you can do is press the button on that side or so, turn on ambient sound, and listen to the world around you. If you're in an airplane and you're listening to the overhead or so when it comes to flight information or whatever it is, and then you can turn the noise canceling back on. I find that to be a lot easier, so that's what I tend to do instead of using my hand to cup it, because you kind of have to hold it there until you're done listening. It is a little frustrating to do that. I think it should have been thought out a little bit better. But once again, is it a deal breaker? No, because all I have to do is just press that button or so, and it turns on ambient sound for me. And I have the ambient sound to be able to listen to voice and try to drown out the rest of the excess noise as well too. Otherwise than that, like I said, it's extremely comfortable. Like I said, after about 5 hours, a little bit on the heavy side. It comes with a 3.5mm jack, Bluetooth 4. It works absolutely fine. Just the one key thing is, actually, I still think the LED lights on all these Bluetooth devices are way too bright still. Right now, like I said, it's September 2020, so you can get these things for roughly between $200 to $250. Absolutely worth it. Thank you very much for watching this review.